Let's go with the flow. In question 8, where Don says, from last session, I would like to continue with a few questions about the fact that in 4th density, red, orange, and green energies will be activated. Yellow, blue, etc. Being in potentiation. I think I read that poorly. Let me reread it. From last session, I would like to continue with a few questions about the fact that in 4th density, red, orange, and green energies will be activated. Yellow, blue, etc. being in potentiation. Right now, you say we have green energies activated. They have been activated for the last 45 years. This puts the year of 1936, right? 1981 minus 45 is 1936. And Don continues asking, I am wondering about the transition through this period so that the green is totally activated and the yellow is in potentiation. What will we lose as the yellow goes from activation into potentiation? And what will we gain as the green comes into total activation? And what is that process? So let me give, because this was a long question, let me summarize this question so we know exactly what we're getting into with Ra as they explain this fantastic question that Don had. So, as you will remember, Ra has said that as we transition, or when we transition into 4th density, what will happen, I'm going to use Ra's words here, you must imagine your planet as being 7 Earths. This means 7 chakras, 7 energy centers, or 7 densities. There are 7 densities already in this planet. However, only 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are activated. 4th in time-space, not so much in space-time yet. Okay, so I know I'm throwing a lot of concepts here, but at this point you should be aware of all of these concepts. So briefly, densities are, broadly speaking, split into time-space and space-time. Space-time being where we incarnate when we have an experience, where we create a body. Okay, this happens through all densities. Up until 7th, I think, where there is basically no body anymore. Nobody's there. Get it? Okay, I move on. So, I'm silly. See, you have to be childish too. Not only poetic and philosopher or philosophic about life, but childish. You have to be childish. And so, let me pretend to be mature now. The time, space, and space-time, they are always there. So in potentiation, to me, means that it's in time-space. It's there. It's always there. But in activation means that it is ready for incarnation, let's put it that way. So what's happening on planet Earth is that we evolve from 1st to 2nd to 3rd. And right now, we are at the brink. We are at the brink of 4th density, the dawn of 4th density. And so, in this moment, 4th density energies are coming from the vibratory activation in time-space, seeping through, let's call it the filter, to space-time. That's why we're getting more Cancer. We're also getting people who are a lot more in alignment with love and understanding. We're seeing this all over the world. Of course, you won't see this in the news because the news are concerned with 3rd density stuff. So, this is happening. This is the dawning of the new age, the dawning of 4th density. And as we go through this process, then things are going to happen. This is what Don is asking. Specifically, metaphysically, what's happening with the energy centers or densities on planet Earth, right? So we have 1st, 2nd, and 3rd activated. Once we go into 4th, then this is going to change, and 3rd density will not be activated anymore, meaning that no entity can incarnate in 3rd density. It'll still be there, but in potentiation, just like 5th and 6th density are in potentiation right now. This is why Don says yellow will be in potentiation, blue, etc. mean indigo. And I don't think 7th density will be ever in, I don't know, I just don't think that's... we don't need to get into that. I think there is a subtle... Even sixth density is kind of... possibly... I won't get into that. We don't need to get into that. The potentiation and activation of those densities. But so far as we're concerned, planet Earth, this is what Don is asking. Now that we're in fourth density, he wants to know about this transition. Once green is totally activated, once fourth density is totally activated, what will happen? Now that yellow will be in potentiation. And Don says, what will we lose as the yellow goes from activation into potentiation, and what will we gain as the green comes into total activation? So let's talk about this transition. Let's do it. Ra says, it is misleading to speak of gains and losses when dealing with the subject of the cycle's ending and the green ray cycle beginning upon your sphere. It is to be kept in the forefront of the faculties of intelligence that there is one creation in which there is no loss. There are progressive cycles for experiential use by entities. We may now address your query. Man, this is... You know what? If you can get Ra visualized somehow, this is Master Ra talking. I mean, I understand the question. You see, this is why I'm human. I understand the question. I know that Don said, like, okay, what's going to be perceivably lost in third density, which is a good way to say it, right? You know, what's going to be lost in third density in terms of experience? Obviously, no humans are going to be around doing their shenanigans, so we will lose that in human terms, right? And what will we gain for density? Well, you know, there will be physical third and fourth density, because they are still vibrating at third density in the transition. I mean, for the early fourth density entities, which actually we'll get to that before we finish this video. We're getting close on the hour, and definitely I'll have to cover this in 3 parts. But what happens is that this process, this transition from third density to fourth density requires several steps of transformation from third density to fourth density. And so we will have, of course, third density, fourth density bodies here doing their experiential stuff, whatever they have to do to fully embody a fourth density body. And yes, so this is what Don is asking. However, Ra says, I just love this phrase, is gold. This really is gold. 63.8, first paragraph. It's beautiful. And we need to put this always, yes, like they say, at the forefront of the faculties of intelligence. Let me reread it again. They say, it is misleading to speak of gains and losses when dealing with the subject of the cycle's ending and the green cycle beginning upon your sphere. Let's say when bread goes moldy, right? And we say, well, it's lost, we can't eat it, it's moldy. I know, some people eat it. I've had it in the past too, but generally speaking, we say we don't eat, moldy bread. Did we lose it? Not really. I mean, it's a very human perspective to say, well, I can't eat it, so it's lost. It's lost, and in my mind, it's useless. And I know it's a subtle thing, but this must be kept for appreciation of the creation, to me at least. That nothing is lost. I mean, what's happening is that nature is reclaiming something. And it's not like nature is taking it away from you. It's recycling it for you. Because that mold will eat it, and that mold will feed something else in the stratums of Earth and in the whole ecosystem that we have. So nothing is lost. Energy it's never created nor destroyed. So why think this way? Why think of loss and gains? This is what Ra is saying. Then, if that wasn't enough, they add to the beauty of this paragraph by saying, it is to be kept in the forefront of the faculties of intelligence, meaning at the forefront of your perception, intellectual perception, that there is one creation in which there is no loss. It's not even planet Earth, even Maldek that exploded. There is no loss there. There is only transformation and further experience and more understanding. Nothing is lost here. It's like in your imagination. Does anything get lost? No. Everything gets integrated within you as you imagine things, as you experience and traverse your mind. There are progressive cycles for experiential use by entities. This is just how they finish saying that in the cycle, there's nothing being lost, but there are progressive cycles of experiential use by entities. That there are planes in which entities will enjoy certain experiences. Just like right now, we're on a plane, beautiful plane between 3D and 4D, and we're living this transition. So we can now address Don's query. So we'll go to next part of Ra's answer, where they say, as the green ray cycle, or the density of love and understanding, begins to take shape, the yellow ray plane on Earth, the yellow ray plane or Earth, which you now enjoy in your dens, will cease to be inhabited for some period of your space-time, as the space-time necessary for density entities to learn their ability to shield their density from that of third is learned. After this period, there will come a time when third density may again cycle on the yellow ray sphere. I'm tempted to keep going. No, let's analyze this. Okay, so as the green ray sphere, I like better when they use spheres as opposed to planes, but okay, plane, spheres, same thing, because we can see spheres over spheres in our human minds. We can see a sphere of red, a sphere of orange, a sphere of yellow, and one on top of each other, right? Or around each other. As they activate, then others go into potentiation, in this case, third density. It makes sense, because as fourth density activates and allows this transition for third density to go into fourth density, you cannot have humans incarnating here that will witness the process of transition for fourth density. Why? Because at some point the harvest will continue to intensify, increasing the amount of 4 density ready entities, which is happening, and thank goodness Don went to these questions and it'll finish this video perfectly for today. But this transition, as third density gradually goes into 4th density, needs to be shielded from third density. I'm gonna use something terrible, but please keep in the faculties, the faculty of intelligence, keep it at the forefront that I'm not using it in a pejorative sense. But animals may not be permitted to live in third density here. You see, it sounds terrible. There are human animals, but it's true. There are animals who were incarnating still in third density, as fourth density wasn't really activated yet. So these third density and their behaviors are still part of our collective consciousness. So you can see the whole work that is happening on a collective consciousness level, individually and physically as well. There's a lot going on right now. Just beautiful. It's the metamorphosis, or metamorphosis, I don't know how to pronounce it, of planet Earth into 4th density. So this transition will take time, and there needs to be a shielding of the 4th density entities, who are us basically. If you haven't noticed, we are 4th density entities still living in a 3rd density body, activating our 4th density body as we go on through the generations. We can do it in a couple of years, we can do it in 100 years, 700 years, like Ross said, but it will happen. And so as this transition goes, because of the harvest, and I can go on this for hours because there's so much material here, but the process is that what Ross says, this will happen. Okay, so there needs to be a shielding as 4th density entities understand how to vibrate in the 4th density body without being seen by 3rd density entities. At that point, when 4th density entities are accustomed and are experts, masters in their own vibration, bodily vibration, to exist in space-time, then 3rd density will come again, and more humans, or whatever type of vehicle then it's used here on 3rd density of Earth, then they will be able to be reborn, let's just say, and we will have another cycle of 3rd density with 4th density already habiting here. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know how that affects that cycle. Does it make it easier? Maybe, because there's 4th density entities positive here. Positive, I don't know. I really don't know. That's a really interesting question that I would love to ask somebody. In fact, I'll probably make note of this because this is a really good question, just to go into it. Anyhow, so this is, again, just to strengthen my explanation, that yellow ray plane or sphere of the Earth will become uninhabited for some period of our space-time, as the space-time necessary for 4th density entities learn their ability to shield their density. That's what I explained already, so I won't go into more details. That's it. We can go to the next paragraph where Ra says, meanwhile, there is another sphere congruent to a great extent with yellow ray forming. This 4th density sphere coexists with 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It is of a denser nature to the rotational core atomic aspects of its material. We have discussed this subject with you, and let me give you a refresher on what they mean here. And it is that meanwhile, while 3rd density is going to this yellow-green plane that is still vibrating here as it moves into 4th density, then there is this sphere or this plane. See, now they use sphere instead of plane. Come on, Ra. So this can coexist with 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Of course, after the transition is done. It is of a denser nature due to the rotational core atomic aspects of its material. That is the... Quite simple. Okay, so we have energy. All we have is energy. I know Ra used the word material because, guess what? We are a materialist society because we think of material as opposed to energy. But it is energy. And so energy is moving. It's just vibrating. It's doing its thing. And depending on the logo's configuration of the spheres of densities of consciousness, it will vibrate in different ways. That's just the nature of the logos, or our sun. Or should I say sub-logos, or sub-logos. The nomenclature is not it's not set in stone. But in any case, that vibration changes. So it's like passing through different levels. And as we go through a different level, the energy will vibrate in a congruent way with the other vibrations, which are already happening from 1st to 2nd to 3rd to 4th. So it's almost like they match perfectly. Like Kepler's construction of the Platonic solids. They all fit perfectly with each other. And so these start happening. This is all geometry, of course. Vibration is geometry. And so these rotational core atomic aspects that they're talking about is energy vibrating differently as we get into 4th density. But they are not incongruent with 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's all harmonics. It's all about harmonics, man. It's all about harmonics. So the last part that Ra says is the 4th density entities which incarnated this space-time are 4th density. The 4th density entities which incarnated this space-time are 4th density in the view of experience, but are incarnating in less dense vehicles due to desire to experience and aid in the birth of 4th density upon this plane. You may note that 4th density entities have a great abundance of compassion. So we're going to get into this last paragraph, which is going to incite another question from Don about this. But just in brief, The 4 density entities that are incarnating here right now, indigo children, crystal children, wanderers, wanderers of a specific kind that I'll make mention right now, they're all incarnating here from 4 density because they graduated already, but they're incarnating obviously in a 3rd density body. They cannot do it in 4th density yet because they want to I mean, it's a great privilege and honor for them to be here for several reasons that I have discussed in the past, but namely it's just the assistance that they provide for the transition to 4th density. So beautiful volunteers, of course. This is what Dolores Cannon used to talk about as volunteers, the waves of volunteers, which started in the early 20th century, I believe. I forget. I don't know her timings well, but they, like everything else, it's just congruent with the law of one. So Dolores Cannon, great read. I haven't read her books. I just know of her work, and it's very congruent, like I said, with the raw material. So who are these 4 density entities that are coming here? We will explore them in the next questions, but they are coming in 3rd density, of course, as they aid into the transition.